happy to be here this morning. This is my second trip to the Keys ever in life, so I'm kind of sad it's a little bit overcast, but nonetheless, I'm glad to be here this morning with everyone. So my name is Imana Lewis. I go by the name of Emma, and I'm the Associate Program Director, like Bonnie mentioned before, of Casa Valentina. We're located on the mainland. That's what you guys refer to, the main part of Florida, right? Because anything that's the islands. So we're located in Miami on the mainland. And what we do, I don't know if you know too much about foster care. I assume you do since you're from Wesley House, is that, well, foster care basically is when there's some sort of abuse and neglect in the biological home, that children are removed for their safety and they're put into a system. And most kids grow up into this system, but sad to say, systems don't really raise children that well. So by the time that these kids get to be 18, they're officially considered independent adults. Now myself, coming from a mainstream family, I know at 18, 17, I was no way ready to rent an apartment on my own, to live independently in Miami. So Casa Valentina serves as like a support. It serves as a cushion for these youth that are aging out of the foster care system. We serve young women, we also serve young men, and now we're currently serving young moms with up to one child. And our services, we pretty much have a holistic approach to what we do. We provide tutoring to these young women that's funded by Episcopal Charities, because we find that a lot of these youth that are aging out at 18 are still in high school or not really sure about what they want to get into as far as an educational plan. So we have tutors available for them, private tutoring. We offer affordable housing. They do get to live in an apartment. It's a communal living facility because they do have roommates. We have 2 roommates here that are actually here on this trip with us today. And that affordable housing costs $320, and that includes everything. So that's with the utilities, garbage pickup, disposal, cable, internet. Trust me, in Miami, you're not going to find a better deal where you get a 2-bedroom apartment with 1 bath for $320. So it is an attractive program for youth who are aging out of the foster care system. We do a lot of one-on-one individual counseling because, again, youth, they need a lot of individualized attention, but mainstream kids too, so imagine children who are coming out of the foster care system. We pride ourselves in having a really low staff to client ratio. We have about 4 program staff, and we have the capacity for 12 young women, 7 young men, and 7 young moms. I don't want to be the only one speaking today, so I'm really going to try and hope to engage you guys. Let me introduce you guys. We have Katie, Rosalind, and Rose. I don't know if each of you wanted to say a little bit about yourselves, what you're doing in school, how old you are. No?
Would they want to sit at the mic to do that?
Sure. Yeah, how about you guys move over here? Yeah? You want me to help you up?
Pass one mic around. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, we could.
I stand.
Okay.
Hi, good morning. I'm Katie. I'm 21 years old. I'm currently in school at Miami-Dade Community College, majoring in culinary arts, and I'll be done in May.
Don't be nervous.
I'm Rosalind. I'm 19, and I'm undecided at Miami-Dade, and I want to be a pilot.
Rosalind, I'm sorry, you want to be a what? A pilot. Oh, very nice. Wow.
Be flying with you.
Oh my gosh. Hi, I'm Rose, and I'm 21. I just got done with high school, and I'm starting Miami-Dade in January for criminology.
Very nice. Congratulations, Rose.
So let's get started. I hope you guys don't mind if I'll be sitting. I tend to get a little winded if I'm standing for an hour, right? All right, so we're going to review some of the learning objectives. I hope by the end of today, we'll be able to kind of identify some social factors that affect brain development. We're going to start from early on, and to list some of the behaviors that occur as a result of trauma and abuse that happen in these youth lives. Additionally, to develop 2 to 3 ways to reframe youth behavior in a more positive, strength-based manner. Do you guys know what strength-based reframing means? We'll get more into that a little bit later. Okay, so adolescents, we know that they go through different stages of development, correct? As far as physical development, can anybody kind of give me some examples of how the body changes and the hormonal changes that occur in youth and adolescence? Feel free to yell it out. Go ahead.
Young girls become women, and young boys become men.
Through puberty, right? There's sexual maturation in the bodies, and also some hormones that kind of kick into gear, testosterone and estrogen that increase in levels. There's also some weight gain. You know, their voices tend to change. Height, all of a sudden they shoot up 5-6 inches overnight, right? There's hair growth, and also body image becomes an issue because their limbs get a little bit longer. Their legs are taller. They're still kind of trying to figure out how they work with these new things. And there's also naturally sexual desire, right? These youth usually also have concerns about acne, facial features. Sometimes you see they have bigger ears or bigger noses, or all of a sudden overnight, right? As far as physical development. How about cognitive development? What tends to happen with these youth when they
Question authority.
they tend to start thinking abstractly, right? And now they're forming their own opinions and questioning authority. And hypothetically, what if, right? Or what if I said this, or what if I did it this way, as opposed to what authority figures are telling them to do. And also they're able to kind of introspectively look inside themselves and think about what their personal goals are. Start planning. They start having a higher level of thinking as far as the future. Not to say that they're able to make mature decisions, but that cognitive development starts to kick into gear where they're thinking about these things and goals and plans for the future. Don't they tend to feel a little bit invincible too, right? Some youth, they think that they're superhuman, that they're superheroes, and all of a sudden they start becoming risk takers and start making some risky decisions, and you start seeing some risky behavior, right? What about self-absorbed?
There's more drama and emotion.
Very, very much so,
A lot
right?
of drama.
Don't a lot of youth sometimes too also think that the world revolves around them? I know a lot of adults think that way too, but more so some youth and some teenagers. They become a little bit self-absorbed, and they do act impulsively. What about psychosocial development? Go ahead.
Well, I find that although they look like adults, their ability to function as adults isn't quite there yet. You know what I'm saying? So I have this expectation that because I'm working with this student who looks like an adult,
Right.
they're just not there yet emotionally. And so there's kind of a disconnect there with
What your expectations
what
are.
the perceptions are versus what there is actually there
Agreed.
maturity-wise.
And we're going to get into how sometimes too with trauma, how that affects their brain development, that kind of slows that down. What we kind of expect an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old, if they've experienced some sort of traumatic experience or some sort of abuse when they were younger, that brain development doesn't develop at a normal rate. So even then, you might have to take off a couple years of what you expect from those youth. What about peer groups? During this time, right, peers and social groups are really important, especially with this whole age of social media and how easy it is to share information. You see that youth tend to really look towards their peers or other groups around them for acceptance and forming identity and gaining a self of achievement and competency, right? It's important during this time to really feel like you have some sort of achievement and that you're identifying with success, right? What about behavioral development? We see this a lot, I'm sure, in this population, that they're taking risks, right? Such as smoking, alcohol, drugs, risky sexual behaviors, don't understand their capacity to handle situations. This is where they're really experimenting about what I can kind of get away with, how far can I get with such situations and experiences, and also kind of how they want to gain approval from their peers or avoid rejection from their peers. We see a lot of times that these youth are really experimenting about who they are. Sexually, they're also experimenting. I'm sure there's some kids that walk in one day and they have pink spiked hair or a dog collar on or 6-inch boots on one day. And that's with them experimenting with how their journey to adulthood through that transition. All right, so I want you guys to do a little bit of a self-reflection. Really think about the times when you were a teenager. I hope that's not too far back right, in time. And keep these questions in mind and think about what was around you, the social challenges that you faced. How did that influence your behavior as an adolescent? What protections did you have, that support that you could always fall back on if you fell or if you quote unquote failed? And think about how did these factors influence your choices and the outcomes of your choices. I'll give you guys some time to kind of think.